special meeting to order on Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. And I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. I'd like to introduce Chloe Reed, who will sing our national anthem. So please rise again. I'm sorry, we should have stayed rising.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Give her a big round of applause. Thank you. Now you may be seated. I'd like to introduce the Deputy Town Clerk, Karen Coolidge, right? Or Coulong, sorry, to administer the oath of office.
Okay, could I ask the newly elected Board of Education to stand for me, please? Raise your right hands. Wendy Costa, Joyce Hall, Walter Cruzel, Jonathan LeBlanc, Tina LeBlanc, Chris Rutledge, Scott Ryder, Bill Salzar. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, your duties as a member of the Board of Education for the town of Enfield to the best of your ability, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations to you all.
And just so you know, Tim Neville was ill tonight, so he couldn't make it. So, could we have roll call, please?
Mr. LeBlanc? Here. Mr. Salazar?
Here.
Mr. Rutledge?
Here.
Mrs. Costa?
Here.
Mrs. LeBlanc?
Here.
Mr. Neville? Mrs. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Ryder?
Present.
Chairman Cruzel?
Well, Mr. Cruzel for now, but yes, I'm here.
Mr. Cruzel?
So that brings us to election of officers. Do I have a motion for chairman?
I'd like to nominate Walter Cruzel for chairman. I think he's done an outstanding job since being elected chairman of the board, and I'd like to see him continue for another 2 years and get some more done.
Do I have a second? Second. So motion by Ms. Costa, seconded by Mr. Rutledge. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Do I have a motion to close nominations? Moved by Mr. Rutledge.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Costa. Any discussion? All in favor of closing nominations? It's 8 in favor, 0 against. Do we have a roll call, please?
Mr. LeBlanc?
For.
Mr. Salazar?
For.
Mr. Rutledge?
Walter Cruzel.
It's 4.
Mrs. Costa?
4.
Mrs. LeBlanc,
4.
Mrs. Hall,
4.
Mr. Ryder,
4.
Mr. Cruzel.
4.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you very much. 6B, Vice Chairman. Do I have a nomination for Vice Chairman? Mr. Rutledge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to place into nomination Wendy Costa. Having gotten to know her over the last year, I can confidently say she will represent this board very well. Her knowledge of finance will be invaluable to us, and her commitment to the town and to the school system should be beyond reproach, and I think she'll be an excellent vice chair for this board.
And I second the nomination. So any other nominations? Any other nominations? Do I have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Salazar, seconded by Mr. Ryder. Any discussion? Show of hands. 8 in favor, 0 against. Do we have a roll call, please?
Mr. LeBlanc,
4.
Mr. Salazar,
4.
Mr. Rutledge,
4.
Mrs. Costa,
4.
Mrs. LeBlanc,
4.
Mrs. Hall,
4.
Mr. Ryder,
4.
Chairman Cruzel.
4.
Motion passes.
And 6C, do I have a nomination for Secretary? Mr. Ryder.
Yes, I would like to nominate for secretary to the Board of Education, Mrs. Tina LeBlanc. I believe that being a parent in our schools, being someone that's been around for Safe Grad, being someone that's been around in our town as a involved citizen as she is, that she would be an amazing person to continue being the secretary of the Board of Education. I think she will do us all proud, and I nominate Tina LeBlanc for secretary.
Nomination by Mr. Ryder, seconded by Ms. Joyce. Ms. Hall, I'm sorry. It's going to take me 2 months to get used to this. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Do I have a motion to close nominations? Motion by Ms. Costa, seconded by Mr. Ryder. Any discussion? All in favor of closing nominations? 8 in favor, 0 against. Roll call, please.
Mr. LeBlanc,
4.
Mr. Salazar,
4.
Mr. Rutledge,
4.
Mrs. Costa,
4.
Mrs. LeBlanc,
4.
Mrs. Hall,
4.
Mr. Ryder,
4.
Chairman Cruzel.
4.
Motion passes.
Congratulations. So would you like me to go up front, or you want to join me up front to do the service recognitions? Come on up front, everyone.
Yeah.
So what I need a microphone. Could I ask Rich Renier to come up, please? Hello, sir. Hello, sir. I have a cheat sheet here. I did my homework. You were appointed to replace Mike Ludwig on January 17, 2017. Served the rest of his term. Then you were re-elected 2017 to 2019. You were Policy Committee Chair, and you also served on the Joint Security Committee. So in honor of your service, we want to give you a few gifts, and these were actually made by the high school kids. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. And what would you like to say?
I'd just like to thank everyone here in this room, Town of Enfield, Mr. Drezik, Mr. Longy. It was a great 3 years. Wish it could have been longer, maybe next time around. But right now I'm busy doing the whole soccer and, parenting thing. So, but I appreciate everyone here, to the elected that's coming on board. Congratulations. It was a fun 2 years. I'm sure you guys are going to have your own unique, fun ways of doing things. And I'll promise to only come back once in a while to harass you guys. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Rich. I'd like to ask Councilor Charlotte Riley to come up, please. Well, my homework again. You were appointed on June 5th, 2017 to replace Ray Peabody. You served out the rest of his term. You were reelected for a 2017-2019 term where you served as Vice Chairman, Finance Committee Chairman, and also served on the Joint Facilities Committee. So for your service to Enfield and to the town, we would be honored to.
Well, I already said all my thanks at the last meeting, so I'm definitely not going to do it again. But I know you all up here are going to do an awesome job for our kids, so I'm going to be watching on Tuesday nights. And like Rich, I'm going to come and heckle too if, you get out of line. But I'll see you on Monday nights now. Same time, same place. All right? Thanks, guys. You guys are the best.
Thank you. So number 8, comments from the new chairman. Well, because of the youth vote, I've got a 2-hour speech prepared, but no, I don't.
So do I.
Oh, it's going to be a long night then.
It is my great honor to serve on my 3rd term and my 2nd term as chairman of the Enfield Board of Education. I first want to thank my wife, Debbie, of 26 years, not 62, 26 years.
Feels like 62.
For her support through 3 campaigns. And I couldn't do this without her, and I love her so much. I also want to acknowledge, they're back there, okay. My son and daughter, Robert and Janina, are here. Gracie couldn't make it tonight. I want to thank my mother-in-law, Margaret, for coming. And all the people watching on ETV and YouTube, thanks for watching. I would extremely like to thank our Enfield Republican Town Committee Chair, Mary Ann Turner, for all her dedicated work and the dedicated people of our town committee for their hard work. Her dedication and perfection to detail during our campaign was exemplary, and I would not be here today if it wasn't for her. I would also like to reach out and say thank you to Board Member Chris Rutledge. He did a lot of background work on the campaign, and it was well needed and worked very hard, and thank you very much. I want to recognize some board, I want to recognize, and the entire board want to recognize some distinguished guests as well. We have our Superintendent, Chris Drezik, Assistant Superintendent, Andrew Longi, former State Representative Greg Stokes, Councilor Joe Bosco, Councilor Kelly Hemler, Councilor Charlotte Riley, Councilor Joe Muller, Councilor Lori Ungeyer, former Councilor Liz Davis, Board Member Rich Radier, Deputy Chairman Virginia Higley, Voices of Enfield Chairman Gina Sullivan, and Constable Mary Ann Turner. So in closing, I want to finally thank the residents of Enfield for having faith in me and voting me in to serve another term. And another term, and my 8 colleagues up here for entrusting me to serve as their chairman. My wife bought me this gavel on Christmas 2017, and it's engraved with a line from my speech from 2 years ago. And it says, the future is bright, but watch out, it's only going to get brighter. Well, I want to add that I'm not done yet. It's only going to get even brighter. Thank you. God bless Enfield, Connecticut, and God bless America. And now we're to number 9, comments. Who wants to start? We want to start from this end, Scott, and work now?
My 2-hour speech.
Your 2-hour speech.
Also thanks to the youth vote. I would like to thank all the students that voted for me. That actually means, I want to say more than the adult vote, but that's not a slight to my neighbors. So first of all, hello neighbors. Today is World Kindness Day. It's also National Cardigan Day and Mr. Fred Rogers Day. So that's one conservative we can get behind, I believe. So I wanted to mention that as well. No, I just wanted to speak about a few things that I talk about a lot. And I would like to not challenge, but hope that maybe this term, somebody on the Board of Ed can come up with something similar or as impactful as what I've tried to do with like EnfieldPTO.com and PJ Day for the kids and the things that I've tried to do that has nothing to do with politics but has to do with the schools. Because I believe that I'm on the Board of Education because of my parent friends and because of the kids that I've worked with for 6 years at Hazardville and for 4 years at Eli Whitney, and now my first year at JFK. Because I am up here as a parent for the kids. And hopefully those kids' parents think that I'm an okay guy and throw a decent Halloween party or whatever the case may be, a good fundraiser. So yes, EnfieldPTO.com. One of the things that we're working on now is the Wreaths Across America. So if you go to EnfieldPTO.com/ESS or /Parkman or /HMS, all of the schools have jumped on board with something I talked about a few weeks ago at our last Board of Ed meeting of the former term. So you can purchase one of the wreaths for Wreaths Across America from any of the 7 school PTOs from Enfield Street, Hazardville, Henry Barnard, Prudence Crandall, Eli Whitney, Parkman, or JFK. $5 of that wreath will stay with the PTO, so you're actually doing something nice for the school. And the other $10 goes to the purchasing of the wreath that will be laid here in Enfield at St. Patrick's Cemetery. And I want to thank Lori Gates for bringing this opportunity to me. And I think that she'll confirm that I've jumped on this opportunity working with my PTO friends, and we hope to make a great impact with that. Another thing we're working on is the PJ Day for Kids, which is Friday, December 13th. It is nationally recognized by the state of Connecticut on the second Friday of every December that we have PJ Day for the kids. Every penny raised goes to CCMC to help children fighting cancer. Specifically cancers related to the blood cancers and things that don't always get all the press. So for these kids that have to wear their PJs every day, all day, for months on end sitting in the hospital, we get to wear them as something fun to do. We get to donate $1 or donate a penny, whatever you have. You can wear your PJs to school at any Enfield public school on Friday, December 13th. So I encourage everybody to take part in that. And if you're a mom or dad and you want to send $1 in with your son or daughter and go to work at Cigna or wherever you may work, tell them that you gave your kid $1 and you're wearing your PJs to work as well. So yeah, remember that. We actually have a Board of Ed meeting on Tuesday of that week. So I'll be wearing my PJs to once again promote PJ Day for Kids that Friday. So once again, I'm very happy to be here representing the parents, representing the students, representing my neighbors here in Enfield, Connecticut. So thank you very much.
First of all, I did not get the youth vote results.
I'll have to forward them to you.
So I don't know where I stand, except that I have been elected and I have received the most exciting welcome to this board as a returnee, which means I really must have done an okay job the last time. And I suppose I should thank my family because they sent money. They don't live in town, so we had to get help from somewhere. And to back up the information that Mr. Ryder has suggested, first readers of Enfield also will be happy to provide wreath information to you. And you may purchase a wreath through them as well. And that is one of my pet activities, being sure that all of the students in Enfield can read and will continue to do so because they enjoy it. Thank you. All of you who voted for me and all those other people who came out for the election, because this is a civic opportunity that every one of us should share and participate in. Thank you.
Secretary LeBlanc.
Hello, everyone. This will be my 5th time doing this. And I'm thankful to all the voters who came out and supported me in my 5th term reelection. It means so much more than anybody will ever know. It's been an emotional journey. Not really sure why. Sometimes I tend to care a little too much, but that's okay. It's a strength and a weakness. I couldn't do this without my family, my husband and my kids. They are amazing and have been amazing for the last 8 years. What people often don't see behind the people sitting up here are the people behind them that make the time for you to run out of games early or not be able to throw dinner on the table or just not be there because of meetings, no matter how hard we try to make both a priority. Secondly, I have some friends that showed up tonight that have supported me, knowing that some of the decisions I've made recently have been difficult, and that means a lot to me because they get me. I want to thank the Republicans to my right for supporting me as secretary tonight. Again, that means a lot. I can't wait to work with all of you. I have met you all briefly. Some of you I've known a little bit longer. Some of you I've worked with before. Hopefully you've heard that I'm passionate, but I will respect our differences at times. And I'd like to welcome back Joyce Hall. It was amazing. We had some conversations recently, and it was really just delightful and lovely to have her back. She brings an insight. She's a strong board member, and she cares, and I love that about her. So she's kind of sliding right into her not having ever left, and we only got to work together for 1 term. Again, special thanks to Scott Ryder. He has been my rock and my confidant for the last 2 years. So I'm really excited to get this term started. I think we're going to do great things. I think some of us have been able to be a part of some really great things, and I welcome you guys because you're going to get to be a part of some great big things too. So welcome, and let's get to work. Thank you.
So I will go to the end to Mr. LeBlanc.
Well, thank you all for being here. I want to start off by thanking God. I told myself after the election that if I stick to my faith, everything else will fall into place. Secondly, my entire family, many of whom are in the crowd tonight, thank you for always supporting me, and I love you all very much. Next, I would like to recognize all the voters who put their faith into me and this entire board to ensure the best education for every kid in town. They truly are the future, and we have some tremendous kids in Enfield. One of the proudest things I've owned from this past election cycle is a notebook that I carried around while we were door knocking. And I have in that notebook a piece of conversation from every individual I talked to. And some of the conversations, they didn't always revolve around school-related activities or politics. Some of them were just saying hello to a new stranger. And so, for example, I'd write down that you are a Yankees fan or you have a dog, because I really care about getting to know the people in my community. So that's really important to me, and I'll always look back on that. Another thanks goes out to my Republican committee and team. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. Lastly, to my fellow colleagues here on the board, Chris and Andy, I can't wait to work with you guys. Chris, Bill, Wendy, and Walter, you have guided me through this entire process, and you've always had my back, and you all have and will be lifelong friends, so thank you. Joyce, I know we are just getting to know each other, but I'm excited to work with you. Scott, you and I have a lot in common, especially goal-related things, especially with promoting town pride, so I know me and you will click on that for sure. Tim, who cannot be here tonight, he was my principal at JFK, so I think that's pretty cool to be serving alongside him. And last but not least, my aunt, we made Enfield history. It's something both of us can take pride in, and I know our family is tremendously proud of both of us. This has the opportunity to be a great board, a board in which the kids of this town are always put first, and I'm excited to learn and get to work. And a side note, because I'm a Ramblers coach, the Seas are playing in their Super Bowl this weekend on Sunday in Tallinn, so I wish them the best of luck. Thank you.
Mr. Salazar.
Mine is going to be brief. Geez. So I wrote down a few notes. I have a few thank yous that I'd like to express. First of all, I want to thank God because He's the one that makes everything possible, such as this opportunity. Secondly, my wife, who's out in the audience, for her unwavering and strong support. Caroline, I love you. I would also like to thank our two fantastic boys, Eric and Otmar. I believe they're probably watching on YouTube. From the day you were born, guys, you have been my inspiration and motivation. I also would like to recognize the Republican Town Committee and our chair, who's present here. Their support in the shadows at times, because we didn't know what they were doing, but they were working from home and helping us and coaching us. Without their support, this would not have been possible. And finally, I would like to thank the citizens of Enfield for their vote. To you, I want to say that I interpret the result of the election as not just a vote of trust and confidence, but a clear mandate that you expect me and all of us sitting at this table to work as a team and work hard to make sure we provide the children of Enfield the best possible education that we as a town can afford. You have my promise that I will do so. And once again, to all of you, thank you.
Mr. Rutledge.
Thank you. So, is this thing on? All right. So to the guests in the audience and to everybody watching at home, to our central office administrators, to Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman, and Madam Secretary, and to the rest of the Board of Education, good evening. For the last 2 years, I've had the honor and privilege of serving with you, Mr. Chairman, Tina, Scott, and Mr. Neville, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. And I hope to build on that relationship over the next 2 years. To our newest board members, Vice Chairman Costa, Mrs. Hall, Mr. LeBlanc, and Mr. Salazar, congratulations on your victories last Tuesday, and I know your experience and dedication to this town will complement this board very well. And of course, to our outgoing board members, Mrs. DePoe and Mrs. Hernandez, who couldn't be here tonight, but also to Councilor Riley and to Mr. Regnay. It's been a pleasure to serve with you over these last 2 years, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. In the past, I've spoken before about this being a journey, and what a strange and interesting journey it's been. Over the 100 days of a campaign, we worked to present our vision for the future and for what we want for Enfield school systems. You go to bed on the eve of the election, hoping that as the next day comes to a close, that your vision resonated with the voters. The results come in. The dust begins to settle. You breathe a little bit easier, and you wait for a certain sense of normalcy to return to the community. Now all is said and done, and the voices of the voters echo through their casted ballots. From this point forward, it's our duty and it's our responsibility to respect their decision and work hard every day to earn the confidence they have placed in us all. As a few other people up here have mentioned, these journeys don't come without sacrifice, and I don't mean personal sacrifice. I can confidently say the 9 people that sit on this board don't do so for some need for self-gratification, but rather because they're dedicated and driven to serve with all their hearts. But that's our choice. But we also have to recognize that this journey wouldn't be possible with the support of friends and family. And to all those who have supported us along the way, including our committees and campaign teams, our husbands, wives, and significant others, our children, our families, and in my case, even our fur babies, especially my golden retriever, Liza, who couldn't be here tonight, but who was my rock on election day as she sat with me and went from polling place to polling place. Might have actually helped me in the youth vote as well that night. To all of you, I offer my most sincere thanks and gratitude. So in the closing, the past 2 years have been an incredible journey. And even though every journey has an ending, endings come with new beginnings. And this journey to continue working diligently in providing Enfield's children all the opportunities they deserve, this journey will be taken as a team, and dare I say, as a family. It won't always be easy. There may be pitfalls along the way. But as long as we communicate properly, work together, build each other up, and show respect to this team, this family, and to the community who put us in these seats, there is nothing we cannot accomplish together. So to the Enfield community and to the team up here this evening, I look forward to taking this journey with you and seeing all we can accomplish together. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Costa.
I just want to be clear, is my 2-hour speech the only thing standing between us?
Yes, it is, gavel.
I'd like to start off, of course, by thanking my family for putting up with me, or rather, putting up with my absence. It's pretty cool when your kids say that I have a more active social life than they do. The good news is family dinners will resume next week. For my other family, that's the RTC, especially Mary Ann Turner, and all of my running mates especially, from the nomination through campaigning, right through election night, I couldn't have done it without all of you there. I thank you for your support and your guidance. Of course, my heartfelt thanks to all the voters of Enfield for showing your confidence in me to get this job done. And lastly, to my colleagues on the board, thank you for supporting my nomination for vice chair. Congrats to everyone up here, both re-elected and newly elected. Now it's time to get to work, and let's make sure we give the kids the best educational experience that we possibly can. Thank you.
She did say family dinner. When we are family too, aren't we?
The other family.
Madison, would you like to say a few words? I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you say no, that's fine.
I just wanted to say I'm happy to see all new people here and some recurring people, but it's nice to see friendly faces. So,
Well, we thank you for coming tonight.
all right, thank you. Right.
Yes. I forgot 2 people to recognize, Deputy Mayor Suzak and Constable Kwasnicki. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ms. Costa, seconded by Mr. Salazar. Any discussion? All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, and good night.